Today, we're going to talk about something that's totally invisible, but makes all the difference between an app you love and an app you delete in 5 minutes. We're diving into the unseen architecture of great design.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever opened a new app, ready to go, and you just can't figure it out? You're tapping around, getting more and more frustrated, and you can't even do the one simple thing you downloaded it for. Yeah, we've all been there.
Well, that feeling? It almost never has to do with how pretty the buttons are or the cool animations. Nope. 9 times out of 10, the real issue is with the design's skeleton. It's a structure problem, deep down.
And that frustration is exactly where we need to start. Because before we can talk about the fix, we really have to get why a bad layout, a bad structure, can just absolutely ruin the experience for a user. You see, a poor structure isn't just unhelpful, it's actively working against you. It makes you feel lost, completely overwhelmed by all the clutter. And all of that chaos increases what designers call your cognitive load, which is really just a fancy way of saying the amount of brain power you have to burn just to navigate the app. And when that gets too high, you just hit a wall, give up, and move on. Okay, so if a messy structure is the villain of our story, what's the hero? What's the fix? Well, that brings us right to the main idea for today: structural refinement. So what is structural refinement, really? It's basically the process of taking what real people, actual users, tell us and using that feedback to improve the organization and flow of the app. It's not about designers guessing what might be better. It's about making smart changes based on real evidence. And what's the whole point of doing this? Well, the goal is to make using the app feel effortless. It's all about creating navigation that just feels natural, right? It's about lowering that mental effort we talked about, making things crystal clear, and just helping you get things done without ever having to stop and think, wait, where do I click? That all sounds fantastic, but how does it actually happen? Like, what are the moves designers make to fix a broken structure? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. It really comes down to three main actions. First, they reorganize. Maybe they move the most important screen to the front so you don't have to dig through 5 menus to find it. Second, they reduce. They just get rid of the noise, cut out anything that isn't absolutely essential to what you're trying to do. And finally, they rearrange. They tweak the layout of a screen to create a better visual flow that guides your eye right where it needs to be. And the result of all this work? It's a total transformation. You go from something that feels confusing, overwhelming, and just plain illogical to an experience that feels intuitive, seamless, and clear. Seriously, it is a night and day difference, and it all comes from focusing on that foundational structure. Now, it's super important to understand that this isn't just about making things look a little neater. Getting the structure right is so much bigger than that. It's about laying a rock-solid foundation for the entire future of the product. Think about it like building a house, right? You would never, ever start putting up fancy wallpaper or picking out furniture if the foundation was cracked and uneven. It's the same thing in design. That structure is the foundation, and if it's weak, everything else you try to build on top of it is just going to be wobbly and unstable. Because once you have that solid structure in place, that's when you can start adding all the other great stuff. You can build cool, advanced interactions, you can apply that beautiful visual polish, and crucially, you can make sure the app is accessible to everyone and that it can grow and add new features in the future without having to be torn down and rebuilt from scratch. And this quote from the source material just nails it. It's a double win. You're improving the experience for the user right now, and you're making the product future-proof. It's a huge deal. So here's the bottom line. That easy, fluid, wow, this just works feeling you get from a great app, that isn't an accident. It's the direct result of a ton of careful work on the solid, unseen structure that's holding the whole thing together. So I'll leave you with this little challenge. The next time you're just gliding through one of your favorite apps, pause for just a second. Ask yourself, what is the hidden architecture here? What is the unseen structure that's making this feel so easy, so right? You'll start seeing it everywhere. Thanks for tuning in.